Hey, good morning, guys. So just awesome posts. I just wanted to bring up, so JC, you had mentioned in, I believe, your video 2 post that you said digital art is a little bit different because it's a file that can be copied. And so I thought that concept was really interesting, just because I think that creates a dialogue then, because a lot of artists do that where they will release photos of their exhibits. There's a really famous one right now, CJ Henry. She's in New York, and so she does a lot of really great hyper realistic water or Prismacolors. And so she created Prismacolor palettes and then designed a room around that color palette. Just Google it, it's so interesting. But she took pictures of the exhibit and then is releasing photographs of the actual exhibit that are not necessarily the artwork itself because it's not the Prismacolor drawings. And so she's only releasing like 25 copies of each. So I can see where the digital art or the digital aspect of art kind of is a little bit different. That also made me think about photography in general, not even just photography of an art piece, but like, how do you guys feel about photography? Just because for like a long time, it wasn't really integrated into museums. And it wasn't as obviously as solid as an art form as painting until pretty recently, like obviously the camera being invented, but then after that it took a while for it to catch on because cameras were initially used for portraiture. So yeah, what do you guys think about photography? If that, I guess, is not a lesser of an art form, but that does go into the realm of digital art. So if that's like a different conversation. So really interesting. Also too, I was able to go to a lecture that Mata Cruz, who's the director of the Phoenix Art Museum, she was hosting this week, and she actually had been talking about kind of digital exhibits, and I don't know if I necessarily agreed with her, but this is just what a director of the museum like his thought process was. But she was saying that they had the Phoenix Art Museum had a video game exhibit a couple of years ago, like 5 years ago, and she said it was too specific, which I do agree with that point, but that wasn't something that the museum would probably ever do again, just because it focused on a very specific form of art. And so I don't think she was throwing shade at digital art, but I do think that there's a conversation there of how museums kind of treat digital art, even though the process of creating video games and the outcome itself, if it's done well, obviously is very high quality and interesting and in itself an art form. So anyways, what do you guys think about those two questions? Number one, what do you think about photography? And then number two, what do you guys think about video game art? Just throwing those out there. Thanks.